Hello and welcome. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran and this is Voice of the Global South. All right then, let's get started. On the show this week, North Korea tests a hypersonic missile. Will it sell the missile or the technology to Pakistan? We trace the history of the Pakistan-North Korea nexus to understand the dangers involved. From the Baltic Sea to the Taiwan Strait, China's grey zone warfare targets undersea cables. And a virus outbreak in China worsens a quademic crisis worldwide. All that and much more coming up on Voice of the Global South. They say the company you keep says a lot about you. The same is true for countries. Pakistan's ties with North Korea are a case in point. I'll tell you how and why in a bit. But first, here's some context for you. On 6 January, North Korea tested a hypersonic missile. A hypersonic missile is one that can travel at more than 5 times the speed of sound, which makes it more difficult to track and shoot down. The test coincided with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken's visit to South Korea. North Korea released photographs that showed its leader Kim Jong-un watching the missile test along with his daughter. Pyongyang said the missile reached a top speed of Mach 12, that is 12 times the speed of sound. Now, North Korea already possesses missiles that can reach the U.S. military base at Guam. But what's new is that 1. Pyongyang is combining its missiles with a hypersonic warhead to make them more potent. 2. It's using carbon fiber composite materials in the missile's engine section. Now, carbon fiber is lighter but stronger than other materials. And 3 similar tests conducted last year featured a new solid fuel design. Solid fuel missiles do not need to be fueled immediately before launch. They are easier and safer to operate and require less logistical support. They last longer than liquid fuel weapons. They fly at a low altitude and they can change direction mid-flight to evade detection. Kim hailed the missile test as a weapon against threats posed by hostile forces, code for US and its allies. Kim said the test showed to the West that it's ready to use any means to defend itself. The US and its allies predictably condemned the test. South Korea's acting President Choi Sang-mok said it posed a threat to security on the Korean peninsula. Japan's Prime Minister Ishiba Shigeru said North Korea might be improving the missile technology with every subsequent test. And Blinken said the test underscores the importance of collaboration among the US, South Korea and Japan. But that's half the story told. What the US said about North Korea in the UN Security Council 2 days after the missile test on 8th January, which by the way was Kim's birthday, is what should worry the world, including India.
The DPRK is significantly benefiting from receiving Russian military equipment, technology, and experience, rendering it more capable of waging war against its neighbors. In turn, the DPRK will likely be eager to leverage these improvements to promote weapons sales and military training contracts globally.
Let me repeat that last bit. The DPRK will likely be eager to leverage these improvements to promote weapons sales and military training contracts globally. Now, India only knows too well about it. A recent report published by the Tribune newspaper said New Delhi would want to ensure that Pyongyang's new and bigger arsenal of hypersonic and short-range weapons does not have any place in Pakistan's offensive military thinking. The report said developments on the Korean Peninsula are of greater strategic importance to India today than they were 4 years ago, because North Korea is a more emboldened military factor in East Asia now than it's ever been. The questions confronting India and the world are twofold. One, will North Korea take to arms exports in a big way? And two, will it sell to Pakistan? Let's rewind a little. According to the late B. Raman, who worked for India's spy agency, Pakistan's ties with North Korea date back to 1971, when Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, then foreign minister, visited Pyongyang and sought North Korean weapons to strengthen the Pakistani military in the face of a looming war with India. Bhutto also visited North Korea in 1976, this time as Pakistan's Prime Minister. In 1993, his daughter Benazir visited Pyongyang when she became Prime Minister. Benazir increased the scope of the agreement signed by her High Father to cover cooperation in nuclear and missile technologies, including 1. The training of Pakistani scientists and engineers in North Korea, 2. The training of North Korean scientists and engineers at the Pakistani uranium enrichment plant at Kahuta, and 3. The supply of missiles and related technology to Pakistan. A former US journalist, Mike Chinoy, described Benazir Bhutto's visit to North Korea as the critical first step in an accelerating pattern of cooperation between Pakistan and North Korea. The Carnegie Endowment for International Peace said Pakistani nuclear scientist A.Q. Khan made at least 13 visits to North Korea. Khan arranged a barter deal to exchange nuclear and missile technologies with North Korea. In 2004, Khan publicly confessed to transferring nuclear technology to North Korea between 1989 and 2000. According to the New York Times, North Korea obtained many of the designs for gas centrifuges and much of the machinery required to make highly enriched uranium from Pakistan. Highly enriched uranium is used for producing nuclear weapons. In return, North Korea gave ballistic missile parts to Pakistan in July 2002. It's important that you understand this timeline because it ties in perfectly with the development of North Korea's own nuclear weapons program. Remember, North Korea conducted its first nuclear test in 2006. So the Pakistani nuclear black market has had a role in North Korea turning nuclear. What you also need to understand and appreciate is why Pakistan behaves the way it does. Hussain Haqqani, a former advisor to Benazir Bhutto and Nawaz Sharif, has said that the way Pakistan is governed could explain its nexus with North Korea. Haqqani wrote, and I quote, "Pakistan is governed in a secretive manner, with its intelligence services and military running off affairs in spheres of international concern. Even when the civilians are in charge of government, security policy remains largely in the military's hands." What I'm getting at is this: Pakistan and North Korea go back a long way. So what's the guarantee that Pakistan will not turn to North Korea again? I want to leave you with this thought. If reports are to be believed, Pakistan may want to tap North Korea for submarine-launched ballistic missile technology and hypersonic missiles. Pakistan has neither, but North Korea has both. So, will it be back to the future for Pakistan and North Korea? Well, as they say, watch this space. Right, Taiwan and China tensions continue to simmer, this time over the damage done to an undersea internet cable. It's not the first time China has been accused of sabotaging undersea telecom infrastructure. A Chinese ship allegedly cut a data cable in the Baltic Sea in November. Ragini Sudhir Chore pieces together the story of Beijing's grey zone warfare.
China is giving grey zone warfare a whole new dimension by cutting undersea internet cables. Taiwan and the Philippines are its latest targets. Similar incidents have been reported in the Baltic Sea involving Chinese ships. The incident took place on 3rd of January near Taiwan's northern coast. At approximately 12:40 in the afternoon local time, a telecom company called Chunghwa Telecom alerted Taiwan's Coast Guard that the subsea cable near Keelang had been damaged. The Coast Guard quickly deployed a patrol vessel to investigate. As it turned out, a Hong Kong-owned freighter, the Shanshin 39, was in the vicinity at the time of the incident. Officials established radio contact with the ship's captain and conducted an external inspection. Tracking data revealed that the freighter likely dragged its anchor in the area where the cable was cut. Ownership records show the ship is registered in Cameroon but belongs to J Yang Trading Limited, a Hong Kong company led by a Chinese national. The evidence has since been handed over to prosecutors for a criminal investigation. The vessel's current location remains unknown. Its automatic identification system, or the AIS signal, has not been detected since 3rd of January. The AIS is a short-range coastal tracking system currently used on ships. Despite the damage, Chunghwa Telecom successfully rerouted traffic through alternate cables, ensuring uninterrupted service for the Trans-Pacific Express, a $500 million communications link between Eastern Asia and the United States. This incident is not isolated. It mirrors recent disruptions to undersea infrastructure worldwide. In October, a Chinese vessel allegedly damaged both a Baltic Sea gas pipeline and an undersea data cable. Claiming it was an accident, Beijing admitted that the Chinese-owned and Hong Kong-flagged container ship New Polar Bear damaged the Baltic Connector, an undersea gas pipeline between Estonia and Finland. In November, Yipeng 3 Chinese bulk carrier allegedly damaged undersea cables in the Baltic Sea. It cut cables that connect Sweden to Lithuania and Finland to Germany. Undersea cables play a vital role in global communications and energy transmission. Critical infrastructure such as these are increasingly vulnerable to disruption. Attacks on undersea cables are not only disruptive, but they could potentially cripple economies and destabilize societies. China is not stopping at that though. Soon after the data cable war, China threatened Taiwan's cyberspace. On the 6th of January, the National Security Bureau of Taiwan reported an escalating cyber attack on the island. Cyber attacks on Taiwan government departments doubled in 2024 from the previous year to an average of 2.4 million attacks a day. Taiwan has in recent years complained about what it sees as China's grey zone harassment, from daily military drills near the island to cyber attacks at a time when Beijing is ramping up military and political pressure to force the democratically governed island to accept alleged Chinese sovereignty. China's cyber forces employ techniques including advanced persistent threats and backdoor software to try to infiltrate and compromise Taiwan's key infrastructure, including highways and ports. This is not the first time that China is being accused of such attacks. In October 2024, Thailand accused China of a cyber attack on its judiciary. In July 2024, Germany accused China of a cyber attack on its mapping office. In May 2024, Britain accused China of hacking into its defense ministry. In March 2024, the US accused China of a cyber attack on European lawmakers. In February 2024, the Netherlands accused China of carrying out a malware attack on its military. And the list goes on. The Philippines is another country that China has targeted. Tensions rose after a suspected Chinese submarine drone was recovered off the Philippine coast. Its discovery sparked concerns about national security and regional stability. The device, marked H119, was retrieved by Filipino fishermen near Masbate Island in central Philippines. Authorities suspected the drone is a China-made sea-wing glider, an advanced underwater vehicle capable of transmitting data and voice messages to satellites and surface units. The drone is believed to have a range of uses, including underwater surveillance, oceanographic research, and naval operations. It can also serve as an anti-detection device. The recovery of the drone inside the Philippines' exclusive economic zone raised concerns about China's increasing activity in contested waters that separate the two countries. The Philippines' exclusive economic zone extends 200 nautical miles, that is 370 kilometers, from its coastline, overlapping with Beijing's maritime claims in the region. Adding to the tensions, China's 12,000-ton Coast Guard vessel, nicknamed the Monster Ship, was sighted near Scarborough Shoal. The area is a frequent flashpoint in the ongoing territorial disputes between China and the Philippines. Displacing 12,000 tons and with a length of 541 feet, the CCG 5901 is 3 times the size of the United States Coast Guard's main petrol vessels, called the National Security Clutters, leading many observers to refer to the Chinese vessel as the Monster. It is more than 5 times the size of the Philippine ship, the BRP Teresa Magbanua. China claims nearly the entire South China Sea, overlapping the exclusive economic zones of several nations including the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, Taiwan, and Indonesia. China's grey zone tactics add a new layer of complexity to the already volatile waters in the Indo-Pacific. Ragini Sudhir Chaure's report for DD India.
A respiratory virus is spreading from China to countries in the region and beyond. It comes at a time when the world is already reeling under 4 other viral infections all at once. So are we on the cusp of a new pandemic? Ragini Sudhir Chaure finds out.
China is back in the news. A human metapneumovirus or HMPV outbreak in China has raised the alarm worldwide. The virus has spread to India and some countries in Southeast Asia. China calls it winter viral, but hospital videos circulating on social media paint a different picture. Take a look at these videos. Hospitals in China are reported to be struggling with a surge in the HMPV cases alongside influenza A and mycoplasma pneumonia infections. The videos show overcrowded facilities, drawing comparisons to the COVID-19 pandemic. Schools in Wuhan and other cities in China are closed amid a rise in HMPV infections. The World Health Organization is demanding detailed information from China. Is this the return of a new pandemic? Wuhan, 12 December 2019. A cluster of patients begin to experience the symptoms of an illness that is later identified as novel coronavirus. By 11th January 2020, China had reported the first death from the novel coronavirus. And on the 23rd, Wuhan, a city of 11 million people, is placed under lockdown. A week later, the World Health Organization declared it a public health emergency of international concern. Cut to January 2025, HMPV infections spread in China. Worryingly, the HMPV outbreak has been reported at around the same time of the year as COVID-19 5 years ago, causing panic among people. However, HMPV is not the only problem here. This winter has brought along 4 different viruses. The term quademic is now at the forefront of healthcare discussions in both the United States and the United Kingdom. The word quademic refers to the simultaneous surge of 4 major viruses: COVID-19, the flu, the respiratory syncytial virus or RSV, and the norovirus that are currently overwhelming healthcare systems across the globe. These illnesses, traditionally common during the winter months, are now spreading at unprecedented levels, creating an urgent situation for hospitals that are already stretched thin. COVID-19, the first of these 4 viruses, continues to challenge both healthcare professionals and the public. While vaccines and past infections have provided some immunity, new variants and the holiday season have fueled a resurgence. The flu has surged dramatically in the United Kingdom. Hospitalizations have increased by a staggering 352% compared to December 2023. In the US too, hundreds of thousands have been affected, with vulnerable populations such as children and the elderly at risk for severe complications. Then comes the RSV, which is exacerbating the situation in the US, especially for children. This virus, which causes severe respiratory issues, is overwhelming pediatric hospitals. Then there is norovirus, also known as the winter vomiting bug. It's rapidly spreading through schools and hospitals, further challenging an already overburdened system. In the UK, hospitalizations because of the flu reached an average of 1,861 patients per day in early December, a 70% increase from the previous week and more than 3 times higher than the same period last year. Meanwhile, the norovirus cases were up 10% than the previous week and 64% more than last year. In the US, the situation is equally dire. Norovirus outbreaks are at their highest levels since 2012, and RSV hospitalizations have jumped by nearly 40% in just 2 weeks. Add bird flu to the mix and the world has a serious problem on its hands. The US has reported the first human death because of bird flu or H5N1. Halfway across the world in India, 3 tigers and a leopard have died because of the bird flu at a zoo. India has also reported 7 cases of the human metapneumovirus or HMPV, 2 each in Karnataka, Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu and 1 in Gujarat. All the infected patients are either toddlers or infants. According to the Indian Council of Medical Research, none of the infected babies or their families have a recent history of travel.
There has been news doing the rounds about a metapneumovirus outbreak in China. Let me be very clear on that count. Metapneumovirus is like any other respiratory virus which causes a common cold. And in the very old and the very young, it could cause flu-like symptoms. However, we have analyzed the data of the respiratory outbreaks within the country. There is no substantial increase in December 2024 data. In any case, during winters, there is an increased outbreak of respiratory virus infections for which our hospitals are usually prepared with the necessary supplies and the necessary beds.
Unlike the COVID-19 pandemic 5 years ago, this time the enemy is not unknown. Malaysia recorded 327 HMPV cases in 2024, a 45% rise compared to 225 cases in 2023, as per the Straits Times. Hong Kong identified a few HMPV cases. Cambodia has issued a health alert. In Japan, authorities are closely monitoring the situation. Already grappling with a flu outbreak, Japan reported 94,259 influenza cases in the week leading up to 15th December 2024, according to the Japan Broadcasting Corporation. Dr. Soumya Swaminathan, a former chief scientist at the WHO, advises people to take the usual precautions when we catch the flu. Wear a mask, wash your hands, avoid crowds, and consult a doctor if required. With Bureau Inputs, Ragini Sudhir Chowre's report for DD India.
And with that, it's a wrap. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.